Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon, good evening, good night. Well, for those in Jamaica, it is good afternoon. For those in the States, it is good afternoon. For those in the UK, it is good evening. For those anywhere in the world, it is Wagwan or whatever like that. My name is Sylbourne, and welcome to the late one with my topic, Don't Go With the Flow. And let me just take a moment here and you can join me as well. What I do at this moment is go through the process of sharing, and you can also do this as well. I'm encouraging you, inviting you to share this show. Yes, share it there, 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 and as well, share it here. Good. Don't go with the flow. I decided to call this segment of the show on a Wednesday. And for the Wednesday, like now, what I want to do is to just pick on a topic which I want to sort of focus on, but also use it as a way of setting the stage for what is going to happen for the rest of the week on the Sylbourne platform. Mondays and Tuesdays, I try to do some rest at the same time, even though I never rest. And and then make these impromptu things when I do my walk as well. And the principle about don't go with the flow, and the reason why I said this is my time to just have a nice banter with persons and to have a discussion with persons based on any type of topic of the day and any topic that you want to talk about is the principle of don't go with the flow is this: don't go with the flow, which is the quote which I created, which is mine, only mine. And people say to me in Jamaica, Silver, you'll never get sponsored from a company over there called Flow. because it is don't go with the flow. So don't go with the flow or you'll be in someone else's stream. And then what it says, what you got to do is this: create your own rivers. Now, when I say create your own rivers, um, it is whereby you create your own way forward. Because when we go with the flow at times, what we tend to do is following in someone else's footstep, allowing other people to lead us, and then at the same time, we are not actually leading ourselves. And sometimes when you go with the flow, you're actually just in someone else's stream. So the most important thing is that you stop for a second, and then what you say, um, create my own rivers. Now I'm gonna play this video, which I got a lot of series. Hey, Tata, how are you? I got a lot of videos, which I've done and Don't Go with the Flow series, and it's for my book as well. And I'm gonna play this one tonight. This is gonna be the one that I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna play it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, another series of Don't Go with the Flow. I was thinking the other day, I saw this post, and this post says, I think for myself, and I don't care what anyone else think. And I said to myself, can I really say that? Can I really say I don't care what anyone else think? But I see the principle behind it. Because at the end of the day, you, anyone, me, have got to have that independence of mind to think for yourself. And also, most importantly, sometimes you can't really care what other people think. Because guess what? If you care what people think all the while, you could be actually living in their level of care as to how they think about you. You have got to set the stage. You have got to set your purpose. You have got to understand who you are. And that is one of the reasons why sometimes, as people know, I always just say, I don't care. My name is Sylbourne Sidiel from Ochurius, son of Eric B. Sidiel. I set the stage right there by simply saying, who cares? But really and truly, we care. But the point I'm simply saying is that think for yourself and don't be constrained by what other people think about you. And as I always say, don't go with the flow. There we go. Don't go with the flow or you'll be in someone else's stream. Create your own rivers. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to share this video um, as well. But I've got some good news. If you remember a few weeks ago, where I had a couple young people who came on the show, and and on the show when they came on the show, we interviewed them, and I'm trying to see if I can actually find the image. Yes, here's the image. Bingo. There we go. Laetitia Angell. Bingo. There it is. Laetitia Angell. She came on the show some weeks ago, and she was crowned Miss Teen UK, Miss Teen Caribbean UK, right? Miss Teen Caribbean UK. There she is. Very intelligent ladies. She's 15 years of age, and what I plan to do uh, is to invite her back on the show as well. And I've got another image of her which came out of the the event on, when was it, Saturday, Friday, last week Friday. Here it is again. Laetitia Angell. Bingo. 15 years of age. And the important thing about is that what I'm finding is that young people these days, we've got to encourage them, motivate them, and encourage them as much as we can. We're living in a world now whereby views, opinions, styles of everything is pushed down people's throat, and therefore the independence sometimes is lacking. So anyway, I commend and I congratulate Letitia, and looking forward to get her back on the show at some other time. Um, in regards to the don't go with the flow, Herbert much as said, in other words, don't go seeking someone's approval. Exactly, that's the thing. Don't go seeking anyone's approval. And that's one of the reasons why I coined today topic. And what I coined today topic is life is not so complicated. Life is not so complicated. Now, why did I say that? And why would anyone, what does anyone think why I would say life is not so complicated? And that's the topic. Life is not so complicated. Fatal. Dear Herbert, why would say life is complicated? I always make reference to this beautiful song that is sung by the Lou Rawls. And Lou Rawls says this: what's the matter with the world? Has the world gone mad? And he finishes the song in the same sentence, right, by saying, nothing is wrong with the world, but it is the people that is in it. And he says, in it, in it, in it. And the amount of things which I see sometimes happening around, you just definitely cannot go with the flow. You cannot follow the typical pattern of thing which is going around. We've got to make sure that we actually stand our ground. Don't follow the necessary public opinion. Don't follow the necessary public media, mainstream media, or whatever. You've got to have a level of independent thinking, even if it is in politics, even if it is you're going against the grain of things, whereby because you're black or because you're white or for your culture that you've got to think a particular way. I go against that completely, and I say don't go with the flow. Just like I said, the sky is not the limit. The sky is the start. That is where you start from. You start from the top. You don't start from the bottom, right? And when I say life is not complicated, I draw reference to the recent controversy when I heard about Adele. Adele, who is a great singer, Grammy Award, and Adele just simply had a good day, and she was just putting on some Jamaican colors and enjoying the park and just enjoying life and just feeling liberated and free. Maybe she had some smoke or whatever like that, feeling like she's in Jamaica, you know. And then all of a sudden, you got persons who are annoyed or upset by the fact that she's having a good time and say she is culturally appropriate. Cultural appropriation of Jamaican and cultural colors. Then I ask myself the question, and I put it to the papers as well. And I scrutinize the papers and say, Who are these persons that say there's a cultural appropriation? Who is that voice? Where did it come from? And I couldn't find it. Someone said, some blue tick people, they said critiques, critiques. And that's how the paper does. The paper does this thing where it keeps rolling, people rolling. You know what I'm trying to say? Rolling, trying to sort of whip you up into a frenzy. Papers sell when they get bad news or when they get news which is of a race. Race issues sells. Black and white racial tension sells. Black Lives Matters sells. All these sort of things sells. Anything that put people on a pedestal sells. And therefore, one is whipped up into this frenzy because you've got to be a part of the network of persons that share. Because right now, newspapers are not being sold, as you're aware. No, newspapers are not being sold anymore. What is actually happening is that they are fighting for likes. You don't get the dislikes. We're fighting for interaction, fighting to gain that momentum, of course, because they want to advertise as well. So therefore, they're looking for news. So when I consider the whole Adele factor, and I thought about it, and I said, hang on a second, life is not that complicated. And I put that in a simple perspective. Life is not that complicated. And I tell you why. I tell you why. Because at the same time, while people are maybe upset by Adele actually wearing these colors and having her hair in China bumps or whatever like that, you have the same persons actually going to the hairdresser and putting extensions and creating the hair in different ways, or persons trying to have on the latest styles. Okay? And then you ask yourself the question, now, where is this coming from? Where's the root of this? And then it hit me again that we've got to be careful that our mind doesn't become impressionable. They always talk about young people and their impressionable minds. Impressionable, let me get it right. Impressionable minds. And these particular minds whereby persons can actually take them astray, take them down the road, whip you up into a frenzy and control it. When you see like the whole aspect of Black Lives Matters, when you see the whole where is sorry, let me just get it. Yeah. When you see the whole aspect of Black Lives Matters, the thing which is happening in the States, killing of Blake, killing of George Floyd, the papers come around and they whip you up into a frenzy, right? They're whipping people up into a frenzy, even the whole thing with Adele. Whipping up into a frenzy to say it's culturally appropriate to start the debate going on. Whipping people up into a frenzy to say they don't want to hear the word rule Britannia, Britannia. Whip you up into a frenzy about statues and everything like that. And then when you check it out for a second, you realize, hang on a second. I said for a second, hang on for a second. What they do is actually taking you down a route, taking you down a road, taking it up for their own particular selfish mental attitude and plans and agenda. I always say, just like when the Bible said, who are these uncircumcised Philistines that try to cloud things? Who are these persons who are actually trying to take people down a path, lead them down this garden path? And I consider and I draw the conclusion that they're miserable sons, totally miserable sons, total persons who are actually have nothing to do. As I say in Jamaica, have nothing to do. So you've got to make sure that one go against that flow. You don't go with that flow because you find yourself in a particular stream. And then when you think about these things, and I draw reference to something which I have lined up for this week. And what you focus on is what you are. Where your focus is, where it lies, it is where you're gonna be. And I'm gonna put an image here. Let me see if I can put this image here. Um, yes, let me put this image here. Christian the truth. I'll put this image here for a second. One image there, and the second image there. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'll show you why one has got to be careful that one don't get whipped up into a frenzy and miss out on some fundamental things which are happening in society now. Right. Life is not so complicated. Okay. Boom. Okay. Got this young man. This guy name is Tristan Kristen Jones, the truth. Kristen Jones, the truth. He's 13 years of age. 13 years of age. And what he does, he dabbles in the stock market. 13 years of age. Made $78,000 US within the space of 3 months. I believe it was March to April to June. I got the details there. I was speaking to him yesterday. Okay. Kristen. March to June. 13 years of age. Have a look at it for a moment. The point I'm trying to emphasize here is this. While many are out there seeing all the negative things within society, there's another flow that one can go into, pinpointing and identifying the excellence out there of people. Let's say people. I could say black people, but I won't say black people. I'll say of people. The excellence which is out there. 13 years of age, lecturing, teaching persons about stock market. Right? $78,000 in 3 months' time. He lives in the States. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be interviewing this guy on Friday evening at 8 p.m. UK time. Okay? There's excellence out there, and it is where you got to go against the flow. I move on from here's a flyer. That's a flyer there. Bing. Friday, 4th of September, 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. US time. Kristen the Truth Jones, CEO, day trader, investor, award-winning, certified Les Brown speaker. Join us on Instagram after the show. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, that is something powerful. I'm just going with a particular flow now, which is going against the flow. I'm just pointing out a couple of things. And as I continue along the quest and the journey as well, and I go on to my show, which is Cross the Connections, Cross the Atlantic, my apologies, Cross the Atlantic. Of recent days, I was approached by someone from South Africa. And the person said to me, I would love for you to help me to promote my music. And I said, let me see your stuff. And when I saw his stuff, I said, I'll do something better than that. What I'll do is, I'll do something better than that. I will interview you. Theatre Cash from Johannesburg, South Africa. Acid music, acid jazz. It's powerful. I'm going to see if I can actually play something, what he has done and what he has sent me. All right. And the show will be, if I can find it, the show will be this Saturday. There we go. This Saturday. And South Africa is in the house. There we go. We're not going with the flow, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Saturday, the 5th of September 2020, 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. South Africa time. Theatre Cash. Theatre Cash. We have to now what I'm trying to locate now is music. And And I'm going a bit slow here today, but I just want to. Sometimes we got to go with a particular flow at times. We got to go with a particular flow at times. And now is the time to go with this flow. Here we go. I'm coming to land. And there we go. Sorry. Ah, somebody just said they couldn't hear me. I think it's always good when somebody's listening. When someone is listening, um, they can actually hear when you're not saying anything. Thank you so much for that, Dan. Yeah, what I was saying is, and I'm going to go back and say it again. Where was I saying? I say when you see like the whole demonstration which is happening in America, and when you see the different people that come together speaking the same language, they're of different colors, different creed, and they have different tongue, right? And they all come together with the same message, the same vision, wanting integrity, wanting justice, wanting fairness, wanting peace, and wanting what should I say? I'll call it freedom. Everyone is saying the same thing. Different race, different colors, different tongue. At the same place, the same time. So that shows you, therefore, it is not just a race factor, it's also a mindset factor. And this mindset is actually powerful. And that mindset actually, when it comes together as one, it is so powerful and so profound. And I call it very potent. Being potent is because it comes together as one. Slavery, in a way, wasn't just done by the uprising and the raising up of black people against it, but also it's stirred something also in white people because of injustice, for them to also rise up again and come in. You see, and it is coming together now. That when you've got different races come together, wanting to change something, it becomes very potent. It becomes so potent, and it becomes very explosive. And that is where, if you notice, that sometimes things change, even in South Africa as well. Things fundamentally change when people come together and become one, right? So, one, when I say don't go with the flow, is that one do not have to follow the typical pattern of way of doing things, but one can go against that. And I believe when you go against a typical flow, is that you stand alone. You don't become a part of the sheep mentality, because bad news sells, negative news sells, or attract attention where people gravitate towards it. But positive news don't sell. Showing excellence, showing the positive features in persons, that doesn't sell. It is not sexy. It is not lovely. But then what one has got to do then is to actually go against that particular flow. And that is why I choose, and I say to myself, and I think about it each time. I have a choice, and everyone have a choice as to which drum that you beat, right? But I prefer the Wakanda drum. Depending on which drum you beat. I want to beat that drum of excellence. I want to beat that drum that the Black Panther talks about. I want to beat that drum that shows that the more that you highlight the positive features, it somewhat, I believe, do something to dispel the negative. Do you think black news is not exciting enough to a white media? I think black news. Do you think black news is not exciting? I think black news is exciting to the white media. I think so very much. I think negative things around black people is exciting to the white media. That is why recently, when I hit out against this film called Falamia or Famila, the one that BBC was showing, whereby they were stereotyping black people or Jamaicans, showing this man with his big dick or something like dropping out of his trousers in the shadow, and showing people laughing and just looking stupid. I call it something. I call it something similar to the the days of the Belgian king when he brought the Congolese um, black people to Belgium to have this human zoo. So people laugh at it, right? As for black news, as for black good news, I don't think black good news is exciting to the media, and I tell you why. Because you've got to show me where that is, right? Somebody's got to show me where that is. Where is it that black news is exciting? Good news is exciting to the media. It's not there, right? I don't see it there, but but I can tell you right now, if there's a killing of a black man in America right now, blah blah blah, you see tons of media houses gone over there and talk about whipping and slavery, and CNN go at it, blah blah blah. But you never see them talking about this 13-year-old boy who made 78,000 in 3 months. That doesn't fit the narrative. You only hear them all talk about Tato Keisha, who is talking about getting his music from South Africa out there. That's not sexy. That doesn't sell. And that's reality, whether we like it or not. That is out there. You know, I agree. Sorry, I meant to write. Do they think good news is not interesting enough to white media? No, it's not. It's not interesting. I always think that we as individuals, we have got to actually sell our own sort of ourselves. We've got to promote ourselves as much as possible. You know, just like how I take this opportunity, because one of the company that helps me get going is is this organization, is Desara.com. Desara.com helps me with lots of my work which I do. And if you want your branding and your videos and all of those things sorted out, creating your various um, you know thumbnails and all those sort of things, tap into the end www.desara.com. Right? We've got to take that opportunity to go against the flow. We've got to use the energies. This is just me speaking to myself sometimes. I try not to speak to people or to speak down to people as if they don't have sense, because people have sense. And it's very respectful of me to not just put myself up on any pedestal. I just sort of speak based on how I see things. It seemed we're a pigeonhole into the into the naughty corner. Well, yeah, yeah. Pigeonhole, pigeonhole into the naughty corner. Yeah. But if I grab the essence of a pigeon, sometimes the pigeons are pigeonhole, and I think there's some pigeons in my tree on the back there, and I think they got a child there, and they're all stuck there. But you see them sort of move out and they fly around, and they work together. They strategically work together, and I believe that to be pigeonholed into the naughty corner, it is that someone has pigeonholed someone into a naughty corner. And therefore, the way to get around that is to ensure that one is not be one is not to be susceptible to one, or to have expectations of a particular race which somewhat is deemed to be superior to oneself. One has got to be susceptible to each other, who that we build each other and empower each other. I always say without a doubt that when one demonstrates and when one is seeking to be of equality, to break down inequality, you are going back to the same persons who created inequality and who is blocking equality. So, therefore, a way of getting around all of those things, I believe, is to go against the flow. It is to actually build up oneself economically. And when one build up themselves economically, then somehow you've got that strength and you've got that clout and you've got that power because you've got that base. And when you've got that base, therefore you can do many things and can move many mountains. And therefore, when you have that base at the same time, others will want to tap into that because they say, hey, this guy's going somewhere. Hey, these people are going somewhere. I don't want to miss out. So, and therefore, you are now able to call the shots. It is terrible to be in a position of weakness when you're trying to make a deal, because those who are in a position of strength, they are more able to do the better deal. It is just like in history. History is normally written by those who are the victors, those who are able to get the spoils. They are the ones that write history. And that is why right now you're having all this thing going around about rewriting history, about we want to teach our history because it is not done in a proper way, right? So therefore, one has got to having some level of um, control, and that control, I believe, comes from a position of having an economic base. And it is not impossible. It is not complicated. And I say this all the while. Going against the flow is that it is it is rich for someone wanting to say to the BBC or to the Brits, don't have that song, Rule Britannia, right? I'm not going to fight the Brits for what they want in their songs, right? It is rich to say to BBC, shut yourself down. I don't have the time to tell BBC to shut themselves down. I want to be in a position whereby I do not have to pay TV license if I don't want to watch the BBC. That's where I want to be. Because many people recently, up to 2015, were paying for paying their slave traders, slave masters, for the time when slavery was abolished, because they still had to be paid. I also paid for it. People who live in the UK had to pay for it as well. That is crucial. Therefore, in BBC now, just like with the Family Show, and many people are upset and very annoyed by it, they were somewhat complicit to the point because guess what? They were also paying during the course of that time for that show. They're paying TV tax, TV license, as you know, and that's the whole thing. So while one having, I agree with the economic fight. You're right. It seemed that an economic view as more public and political social revelation. The control comes from economic plans and simple. I like when you say simple there because, and that's why I keep saying that it is not that complicated. I think we complicate things too much. Things are not that complicated, and I'm not saying it is easy, but it is not that complicated to have a mindset that wants to actually empower work there because the Jews work together strategically to empower themselves. But that doesn't mean to say that they're not engaging with other races, other tongues, other tribes, but they're coming from a position of strength. The Asians likewise work together strategically to empower themselves, to build their base. Caucasian as well. So therefore, it's ultimately for black persons to do that, not just waiting and demonstrating and marching. And listen, I keep saying, that if someone wants to march, I'm not going to rock their boat. I'm not going to tear them down for marching. If someone wants to go petitions, I'm not going to rock their boat. I'm not going to stop them from doing what they're doing. But I don't have the time for that. I think the time and the energy that one used to march, the time and the energy that one to do petition, the time is now for persons like Kristen who is saying, let me learn how to make wealth in the stock market. Let me learn how to create a media mogul house whereby I can create things and have my own programs and where I can promote my own network, you know. And it is not just saying you promote your own people, but what you're doing actually you're doing it whereby you can promote all people at the same time. Because I don't believe that the Jews discriminate when money is coming. I don't believe the Asians discriminate when money is coming to them as well, because it is a way of them empowering themselves and getting economic strength. You know, you know. So the key thing is, and I call it don't go it. I call it don't follow, not following the typical. There's so many things which have been typical over the years since I came to the UK. And that's why I'm starting to talk out against these things as much. I agree with you. Economic. My own question then is, how do we bring black people to create this um, economic unity? How do we bring black people to do that? See, I believe that it's simple as well, but it is not simple in the sense of so simple. I believe the mindset is very powerful. I believe the mindset is very crucial. I believe that the airwaves which we have control the dynamics of the mind, and therefore the airwaves need to be shifted. When I say shifted, it remains the same as it is, but where people channel their energies, channel their mindset, channel their airs, what goes in their ear, what goes in their eyes, to actually hear um, powerful words, words that encourage, words that empower. So a lot of it starts with the mind, because you can get, it's just like when people hear motivational speakers and they get excited and get fired up, but that just happens for a season. After the whole thing gone and the motivational person's gone down the road, what do you do after that? So therefore, there must be something which is deep within, and it comes with mind. So therefore, as far as I'm going, stop listening to certain voices. That's what I say. Stop listening to certain voices. You see, unfortunately, we're in the world now whereby lots of persons benefit from the failings and the inequality and the, the putting down of black people, and they operate in that way whereby deemed as a savior, but they only benefit from the fact that black people stay where they are, whereby they preach on inequality, they preach on lack of equality, they preach on the the lack of opportunities and all those sort of things. And yet right next to you you have persons who are actually having opportunities and who are actually going through the process at the same time. And then you ask yourself, why is some going through and some is not going through? What are they listening to? Are they listening to something that I'm not listening to? and that's a big question. So so I'm not being flippant in the sense whereby one may be not able to answer that question maybe directly, but I believe a lot of it has to do with the mindset, really, because we hear about it so many times. So many times we hear about it as to why don't we have black people working together when at the same time we had what we had it, Black Wall Street. Tyler Perry is a billionaire, right? The Forbes said it. My friend and I were saying we knew that long time. Just because Forbes is saying that, that doesn't mean to say that is the mantra or that's the way how we know things, whereby Forbes say that. When I started the whole thing called Black Excellence and started to highlight black people, and I'm doing it each week where I grab someone and I put them up there. Some people say the Forbes is saying 20 black people to watch in the UK. I say, who cares about 20 black people to watch? I want thousands to be watched. Why? I want hundreds of thousands to be watched. I want the world to be populated with black people that young people can look at and say, there's not just one, there's not 20. After 20, that's done. It's thousands. And we don't need the, um, the Forbes to say that. We can say that. I've learned something a lot in my time in the UK, that there's a potential and the ability to create things. I created this platform by a vision that I have, and it is growing, and it's growing, and it's growing with the support of people like yourself and myself and Desira.com, you know, and that's the thing. Let me see what you say here. Mm, I can understand two Sikhs coming together and working together, but how then do we get my neighbors from South Sudan together? Ah, now that's a good one. This is what I always say on what when it comes on to the black community. This is what I always say, and this is a very tricky one. It's a good one that you put up. How do we get the South Sudan person to come together with my other neighbor from South Brooklyn? How do we get the person from South Africa to get together with the person from the Caribbean who is black? And therefore, you have to ask yourself this question: what is the black community? What is the black community? Who is the black community? And this is where it gets a bit very technical now, because from the Caribbean, like myself, from Jamaica, the route for me to be there was through the transatlantic slave trade that brought me to Jamaica through my four parents. Okay? Now, the person now from Nigeria and just came to the UK and meet me now, they do not have that journey. Their journey is straight from them yard, and they come straight to the UK. We meet together. Person from South Africa, yes, they may experience the whole aspect of apartheid, but they've not been to the transatlantic slavery. So there's a dynamism there. That is why I abhor. I don't like when they put black and minority ethnic and they put everybody in the same category, because everybody have a different level of experience, a different level of background which they have, right? But we've got to find something which we call the common element or the common denominator, which I call the black element. The black element is a factor that we look and say, now what do we have in common? That's the key thing, because there's going to be differences. What do we have in common? The Sikh, wherever they are in the world, they come together on the Sikh principle of being a Sikh. The Asian come together because of their race or their religion, Muslim or whatever like that. For black people, I think the best way is not going to be religion, but I believe from the aspect of Africa, where the common denominator is that where we originated from. That I believe is going to be a key factor, and therefore how then one can build and put the rest together. So therefore, yes, you're going to have the Caribbean maybe working together more, the Nigerians working together more, if anything, and build up their fundamental base. And then from that bigger base there, somehow there's a coming together, like how you got the African Union, where that was pulled together, where which was part of the whole thing that Gaddafi was doing, which was stamp out. So, so it is not. So I'm not going to say it is easy, but I'm going to say it is not complicated. It is not easy, but I'm not going to say it is that complicated. Where there's a will, there's a way, and that's why we cannot go with the flow. And that's why I'm not the one that you see chanting down Babylon on the streets of London, seeking someone to make it right for me, or to make my life peaceful, or to make my life better. I believe that responsibility rests with us, that responsibility of our children as a father, as a man, rests with us. So therefore, we take care of our children because that's the base and that's fundamental. You know, I'm sorry that there's a glitch earlier in the discussion that we have, but just a little bit. Thanks for Dean to put it out there. But that's just my thought today. I don't call it my rantings. I call it my don't go with the flow thoughts, which I come at every Thursday. Um, and sometimes I don't even get it until minutes before when I go on live. The area which I want to focus on as much as possible. But that's my thing. That's my take. I want to thank you so much for indulging with me and to hear my views. I believe it is very important for us to share our views. I believe it is also very important for that we don't just go with the flow just because a black person is a black person. That doesn't mean to say you got to agree with such person. Just because someone is saying a particular thing, and because they're black, that doesn't mean to say they're correct. I believe that we all have different views, we all have different styles of doing things, but we all have something that we can agree on, which is the black element, finding a common denominator. That's the trick in the whole thing, the common denominator. Um, the fault there, Brutus, not in our style, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. From Shakespeare, meaning we need to be responsible for ourselves. Totally. Totally. I agree. Have total responsibility for ourselves. Right? That's my view. I know that there's been a slave trade. I know things have happened, but we must take responsibility for ourselves. And yeah, I want to play. There's a pattern to. I want to play a video though, and this is the last one, which I'm before I go. And the video talks about the explosive dream which is in people. You'll be surprised to find the power and the dreams and the passions which are in people. People right around us, people that we never know exist. Yeah. But before I do that, tomorrow night, yes, I'll have my hosts, guys, which is the in review where we look at some of the top news with Dr. Burton, Keisha, and Kama Allen tomorrow night, which is supposed to be great. And we're gonna have a good time tomorrow night as well. And then we have the after session on Instagram as well. On Friday, we have Kristen the Truth, 13 years of age, young man, will be coming on the show talking about how he made 78,000 in 3 months. But more importantly, his life. What is it that makes a 13-year-old boy have this passion and this zeal to want to empower economically other people of his race? What's his story at 13 years of age? What drives him? And on Saturday, we take to Cash talking about his music, acid jazz, powerful music, lovely music, all the way from South Africa. Make sure you don't miss out that. But tomorrow night, I may also be staying up late because of the Jamaica elections. There's going to be a new, well, not, well, there could be a change of government or it could be the same government tomorrow. But I always say this in elections that the government always wins. You vote out the government, you still get the government. People didn't understand what I meant. I mean to say that there always will be a government. If you vote out the Labour Party or you vote on the Conservative Party, you still get the government, a Labour government. So what I'm trying to say is that you get the government tomorrow. So I'm hopefully going to be staying up tomorrow night, late, starting from 3 o'clock in the morning, UK time, 9 o'clock Jamaica time, 10 o'clock or so, whereby the figures will start going and then take it straight till Saturday morning. Yeah. Someone said, let me see what Laetitia says. I believe you can be the voice of black people. You have this charisma on the platform. I admire what you have done here. Thank you so much for that, Laetitia, and I do appreciate that as well. I believe that we have to be undiluted with our voice and to be unapologetic with what we believe in. And we should not be afraid to be criticized by what we believe in. And that's important. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. Now, I want to play this video before you go and just listen to this one. This one I did about 2 years ago. Just watch it from it for a second. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you're walking down the street, and I say it is funny. You're walking down the street and you see people that you have no idea who they are. If you look around right now with me, wherever you are, you'll see people, you have no idea who they are. But one thing which is profound, they are sitting on, or they have within them, explosive dreams, explosive visions. And that is funny, but also very powerful. And I find it very intriguing because, and that's one of the reasons why I always say, never underestimate any person that you see. Get to understand who they are, what they're about, because you never know explosive dreams which is in them. And guess what? And this is what is interesting. There is an explosive dream inside of you and every single person. But what we need to do is fan that flame. Use that ember and fan it into a flame, because that is powerful. So ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, don't go with the flow. Okay, as I said, don't go with the flow. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night and God's blessing. And remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and subscribe to Sylbourne TV as well. Instagram, Sylbourne TV, Twitter, Sylbourne TV. And there's only one Sylbourne TV and only one Sylbourne Citadel. All others are fake, alternative facts. Okay? Peace out. Thank you very much and have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.